Good morning, grade 5s. I hope you're well and rested and ready for another maths lesson. No dogs with me today, it's just me. So, fabulous 5s, let's get started. A quick reminder that if you have any questions, you can email me, grade5@worksheetcloud.com, and after the lesson you can click on the link above the video and do the worksheet to see that you have mastered what it is that we're doing today. Today we are continuing with order of operations, which we started in yesterday's lesson. We are going to bring brackets in quite a lot more heavily today and expand on our understanding of the order of operations. If you weren't here with us yesterday, probably a good idea to first watch yesterday's lesson. Make sure that you understand why we have to have the order of operations so that we all get the same answer as the correct one. And yeah, so goals for today. Our goal is to be able to calculate the correct answer to problems based on using the correct order of operations and including brackets in particular. So we'll start off by having a look at yesterday's homework as a way of revising what we've done so far, so that we can move on to a little bit more complicated BODMAS today, BEDMAS. Remember, it doesn't matter which one you use, they actually mean the same thing. It's just different words that we use for the same two things. So a reminder of what the different letters stand for in case you've forgotten. Brackets, exponents. We briefly touched on what those two things are yesterday. We're going to go more deeply into brackets, but most of the work all of the work from yesterday, or homework, doesn't include brackets or exponents. So I'm going to switch color now to the 4 that you were looking at. Division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. And remembering that when you get down to addition and subtraction, and that's all you've got left, we work from left to right. Okay, so having a look at number 1, I'm going to do them on the side so there's enough space. 14 plus 5 minus 2. I'm going to underline the things I'm doing. So we've only got plus and minus, so I go left to right. Excuse me. Only got one thing left to do, 17. For 2, again, we only have minus and plus, or plus and minus, so we're going to go left to right. 25 minus 5 is 20. Answer is 30. Oh, I see I've numbered them. This should be A, B, and C. 4 times 5 minus 7. We start with multiplication because M up here comes before subtraction. So 4 times 5 is 20 minus 7 gives me 13. I'm going to carry on next to those up here with D. So D was 24 minus 3 times 4. Multiplication comes before addition and subtraction, so that's what we're going to start with. Leave my 24 alone. 3 times 4 is 12, and I have 24 minus 12, which is 12. Divided by 5 plus 5. So we start with division because division comes before addition. 20 divided by 5 is 4 plus 5, 9. F, 7 minus 15 divided by 3. We start with division because division comes before subtraction, so we leave our 7 and minus untouched. Shift my video out of the way quickly. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. And there is our answer. G has 5 times 6 divided by 3. So I did yesterday explain to you that it actually doesn't matter which one, division or multiplication you do first, you're still going to get the same answer. But we will follow the process that we've written. So we're going to do division first because that's what comes first in our acronym BEDMAS. So 5 times 6 divided by 3 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. H. 4 times 5 minus 2 times 3. So in this one, you could actually do both of them at the same time and it would save you a line, but I'm going to stick for the beginning to just doing one at a time so that we don't accidentally make a mistake between. So 4 times 5 is 20 minus everything else stays unchanged. I didn't do anything. Now I'm going to do 20 minus 2 times 3 is 6. 20 minus 6 is, apologies, 14. We are not going to have enough space in that corner for I. I'm going to shift us down a little bit. And I will do I and J underneath the picture. So let's do I. So the question was 2 times 6 plus 20 divided by 4. So reminder, we start with division according to our acronym. So I leave the rest unchanged in place and I just do 20 divided by 4, which gives me 5. Next I'm going to do the multiplication because M comes before the A. 2 times 6 is 12 plus 5 gives me 17. And underneath that, J, the final one, nice long one, 45 plus 16 minus 48 divided by 8 plus 1 times 5. This was a bit of a challenge. So we're going to start with division. I'm going to leave everything else unchanged and only do the division. 48 divided by 8 is 6. That's why your times tables are so important. Plus 1 times 5. I didn't change that. Next, I'm going to do the 1 times 5. So 45 plus 16 minus 6. 1 times 5 is 5. Now I've only got plus and minus. I'm going to work from left to right. 45 plus 16 is 61. How would I do that? So I said the 5 plus the 6 is 11. I carried the 1. I kept that in my mind. 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus the 1 I was keeping in my mind makes it 6. So 61. I'm leaving the rest unchanged. Now I'm going to do this. 61 minus 6 is 55. Plus 5. Only thing left to do, 60. And there's my final answer. I hope you did all right with those. It just takes practice. One of the things we keep slipping back into is just working from left to right. But if we do that, we won't always get the right answer. We specifically have some where we do the other things first so that we can get the right answer. Why is that taking so long to load? So just a reminder of what BEDMAS stands for. Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Today we're going to be focusing on adding in brackets. We will not add in the exponents part. Another word for exponents is orders or powers, and orders is why some people call it BODMAS. So yeah, that's the only reason why we have a different one. But today we're only going to look at brackets, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Let's practice. So I have some written down, which I'm going to put on the board. You may do them if you can go ahead, if you're comfortable doing that. I've chosen some specific ones to practice certain things. But at any point, if you'd like a little bit more time to practice it yourself before you see me go through and check your answer, you're welcome to just pause the video while I do that. First up, 5 plus 6 minus 4, and we've put that in brackets. I'm going to write it down on the side just to remind us. Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Remembering that when we get to here, we go left to right. So when the only things left are those, we go left to right. Back to our problem. If you've finished with it, great. If not, let's follow. So I'm going to start off by looking at brackets because that's the first thing we have. We do have brackets. So we leave the 5 and the plus unchanged. We're literally just writing it again. So it was above there and we carry on. Then we work out what's in the bracket. So 6 minus 4 is 2. And so we put down the answer to what we worked out. And the brackets are now gone. We've worked them out. We've done them. They've served their purpose. And so they're no longer there. Next step is to do whatever's left because we only have the two things left. So it's plus 5 plus 2 is 7, and there's our answer. Number 2, 8 times 3 plus 1. So following a very similar format to the previous one, give that one a go. See if you can figure that one out. So what do we start with? The brackets. So work out the brackets and leave the 8 and the times unchanged. So 8 and the times stay there. This is what we're doing. 3 plus 1 is 4. So that has taken the space of what was in the brackets. 8 times 4. Hope your times table challenge is going well. Is 32. We can fit a third one underneath there. 9 plus 1 divided by 2. So if the bracket wasn't there, we would do division first, but because there is a bracket, we're going to start with the brackets. Nine plus 1 is 10. 2 stays the same and in the same place. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and there's our answer. Number 4. I'm rubbing the top one out so that we can make space and you can still see the order of operations on the right. 8 plus 3 times 1 plus 2. We did an example of one of these last time, but we didn't include it in our homework. So I'm going to keep doing one step at a time, just so that we don't make any mistakes. 8 plus 3 is 11. Next, I'm going to do that. Eleven times 3 is 33. I'm going to stop underlining when we're on the last line. Never do have to underline. I do it just to guide where it is that I'm doing something. But now that we've been doing this a while, I think I'm going to leave those out. Number 5. Now this time, I'm going to increase the difficulty a little bit. Okay, so now we have a problem that we have a bracket, but there's more than one thing inside the bracket. Well, it's almost like we do a mini bed mass inside the bracket. So if we only had plus and minus and there were no brackets, we would start with that. So in fact, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the bed mass inside the brackets and then the bed mass outside of the brackets. So looking inside the brackets, I'm going to start with 5 plus 1, which gives me 6. I'm leaving the 2 unchanged. And because I'm not finished with my brackets, there's still more than one thing inside, I'm going to leave the bracket there. And the divided by 2 stays the same. So the only thing that's happened is this 6 is what happened when I put the 5 and the 1 together. Next step is to put those two things together. Now, because that's the last thing in the bracket, we no longer need our bracket. So 6 minus 2 is 4. Divided by 2 stays unchanged. We don't need to underline this time. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Another way of asking 4 divided by 2 is how many times does this 2 fit into the 4? And we can see 2, 4. So the answer is 2, and that's where our 2 comes from. I hope you're getting the hang of this. I've got another one with a bracket as well, which I'd like you to do, a bracket with 3 things inside it. So you've got to apply bed mass inside the bracket. So 30 minus 9 times 3 plus 6 times 2. I'm going to give you about a half a minute to get going with this one, see how it goes. Some of you may be stuck, and so I'm going to start. If you weren't stuck and you still need a little bit more time, which you probably would do, just pause the video quickly and then you can carry on when you've finished and you can check that you've done the right thing. I just don't want to leave people who are stuck not knowing what to do and feeling a little bit at a loose end. All right, well, we know that there's some brackets, and so somewhere inside the bracket is where we need to start, but we're not quite sure because there's more than just 2 things inside there. So inside our bracket, we're going to look at which one of these things comes first. Well, we have a times and we have a minus. And the first one that comes is multiplication. So we're going to start with that part of the bracket. We aren't going to finish using the brackets because there will still be something left, and so we leave the bracket in place. So the 30 minus comes from there. We're just rewriting it over there. Now we're going to solve our 9 times 3, and if your times tables are coming along, you would know that's 27. I haven't done anything to these, so I'm just rewriting them. They're staying in the same place, they're just there. I now only have the one thing left inside the bracket. So it's that's the thing I need to do inside the bracket, because brackets was the first thing I'm still finishing off. So 30 minus 27 is 3 plus 6 times 2. I haven't done anything with it. I've just moved it a little bit closer now that this has become smaller. What are we going to do next? Well, we have 3 plus and a times. So what comes next? That's going to be multiplication, the times part. So the 3 is going to stay the same. I'm not touching it. 6 times 2 is 12. 3 plus 12 is 15. If you got that right, well done. And if you are starting to see that you'd be able to do it quicker without always writing out every single step, that's great. I encourage you to do that, but only if you're confident. So what I mean by that, for example, I'm going to write it underneath again. So in my head, if this was a problem I was doing, I would say, well, 9 times 3 is 27. 30 minus 27 is 3. That I would do in one step. And then I would go, well, answer to this is 12. 3 plus 12 is 15. So I would save myself a couple of steps by doing some of the things in my head. But please only do that if you're super confident of what's going on. And your mental maths or mental arithmetic is good, because I don't want you to accidentally make a mistake because you're trying to rush. Because it's more important to get the right answer than to be quick. So please, 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 first and foremost, you need to get it right rather than getting it done quickly. I have 2 more to do before we do a couple of word problems. Oh, I forgot what number we're on. Let us say 7. Really, I'm not 100% sure about that. 9 plus 2 minus 3 times 2 minus 5. Okay, have a start with that one. I'll give you about a 30-second head start and then I'll carry on with it. And just while you are having a start, I'm going to put number 8 down. And I think for number 8, I'm going to go through it quite quickly. So please only do number 8 if you've already finished off number 7. If you need a little bit more time for 7, just pause the video. All right, the B for bed mass says I need to start somewhere in here, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to have a look at what's inside there. Inside there, I have a multiplication, a subtraction, and an addition. And of those 3, multiplication comes first. So that's the step I'm going to do first, is the multiplication. So that's what I'm doing first. The rest of my bracket is going to stay unchanged. So 9 plus 2 minus. I'm just going to put the answer to 3 times 2, which is 6. Minus 5. I'm going to have to write a little smaller so I can fit it in. I'm still looking at something inside my bracket. We've only got addition and subtraction, so we work from left to right. So 9 plus 2 is 11, minus 6, which stays unchanged, minus 5. Now we can finish off our brackets. So the last thing we do with the brackets is that. That will finish what's inside, so we don't need to write them anymore. 11 minus 6 is 5. 5 minus 5. I did this one particularly or on purpose because I did want you to see that we can get an answer of 0. That's quite all right. So 5 minus 5 is 0. So the answer to this long and complicated problem, or complicated looking problem, is 0. And just as valid as any other answer. If you'd like to attempt number 8 on your own, please pause the video. Otherwise, I'm going to talk you through it. So again, we have a bracket, which is where we're going to start. Inside our bracket, we have division and multiplication. We've got division first, just because of the way we put it, although it wouldn't make a difference. So 14 divided by 2 gives me 7. Everything else is going to stay the same. Next, I'm going to do that. 7 times 3 is 21, divided by 7, plus 2 times 5. Division is my next one, because I've got no brackets or exponents. I'm going to start with this one. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Everything else is staying where it was. Move the screen up a little bit. So next up we've got a multiplication, because multiplication comes, m comes before addition. So the 3 stays the same. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 plus 10 is 13. Right, I hope you got that. I hope you're feeling more confident with it. BODMAS comes up quite a lot when we are looking at word problems. And so I've got 2 word problems that I think we can work with now. Five friends. I'm going to jot down the numbers as we go. 5 friends. Each have enough money together to buy 3 bags of fizzes. 3 bags of fizzes. Feeling hungry for sweets now. 5 friends, 3 bags of fizzes. Wish they were my friends. And each bag has 10 fizzes. And we need to find out how many fizzes each person gets if they share them out equally. If they share them all out. I'm also going to jot down the information from the other one so we don't have to jump back and forth too much. So let's have a look at the second question. There are 3 grade 5 classes. So 3 classes. So 3 classes at a school. They each have, they have 28, 29, and 33 students in them. So that's the 3 different classes. And then what is the average number of children per class in the grade? Okay, here we go. I've written down the important information. Let's look at the first one first. The blue one. So we've got 5 friends getting together. There are 3 bags of fizzes and 10 in a bag, and we're sharing them out. So I guess what we first need to look at is how many fizzes there are altogether. And how would we work that out? Well, we've got 10 in a bag, and we've got 3 bags. So I would say we've got 10 in a bag times 3, and that will tell us how many there are altogether. So this is working out how many fizzes, how many F. And then we need to share them out, and sharing is another word for division. So there we go, we're dividing them amongst the 5 friends. So if we want to do this, we've got 10 times 3 is 30, divided by 5. Another way of asking that is how many times does 5 fit into 30? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So that's 6. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. And because it's a word problem, we need to make sure that we give a word answer. Each friend gets 6 fizzes. There will be a couple of word problems in your homework today, so let's pay attention as we do the last one. We have 3 classes. That's how many are in each class, and we want to know what the average is. So average means we've shared them out equally. So let's find out how many learners there are altogether, and then we will share them out between the 3 classes. So to find out how many there are altogether, we're going to do an addition problem. So we're going to add those 3 things together, And then to find out to share them out equally, sharing being division, we're going to do that. Well, we've done this before. We start with the brackets because it's BODMAS. Sorry, BEDMAS is the way I've been teaching it. Same thing. I just think we should call it exponents because I think in most South African schools it's called exponents when they teach it. So we start inside with left to right with only pluses. So 28 plus 29. Well, I'm going to jot down at the bottom my thinking. 28 is close to 30. I've got two more that I would need to get to 30. 29 is also close to 30. I just need the one extra to get to 30. So I'm now 3 short of both of these together. So 3 short of 60. So 3 less than 60, 59, 58, 57. So 57. The rest of it stays unchanged. There we go. Got to add these two together now to finish off the bracket. Well, let's add the 3 there first. So 57, 58, 59, 60. And now we've got 70, 80, 90. So 90 divided by 3. Got to share it equally. Well, let's see. 3 goes into 9 3 times. We can put our smiling 0 at the bottom from our 0 tricks. And we get that the answer is 30. So it's a word problem. The average number in a class is 30. Shift that up so you can see it. Good. Well, I hope that makes sense. There are a lot of times when BODMAS comes up and is very useful when we're doing word problems. A reminder, if you have any questions, email me grade5@worksheetcloud.com. After this lesson, I'd like you to click on the worksheet link above so that you can practice your BODMAS with brackets, BEDMAS, BODMAS, PEMDAS, the order of operations. That's what it is. Whatever you call it, it's the order we do things correctly to get the right answer. Have a fabulous day, grade 5s. I wish you all the best till I see you again. Goodbye.